Hi Jules and Mike, it's me. This is our class 1, especially for you guys. So today we're going to use our roller and our flex band. And for you Mike, probably take the blue band, and for you Jules, if you take the green band. Blue one is just a little bit stronger than the green one. So we're going to start standing, pick up the band. You could maybe hold it just a little bit wider than your shoulders initially. You can feel free to change the grip if you feel it's too tight or you feel that you'd like it a little bit stronger. You're going to begin with your feet, hip socket width apart. Try and take the weight into the front of the feet and then into the heels, into the front of the feet, into the heels, and just find that midway point between forwards with the weight and back into the heels with the weight. So you're more across the midpoint of the foot, so to speak. And I want you just to think about how you're breathing. So try not to let it be that everyday belly breathing as such. You're going to try and breathe into the widest parts of your rib cage, the back and the base of the lungs as well. So really thinking about getting that diaphragm moving. Remembering that every time that you breathe in, the diaphragm pushes down. Every time you breathe out, the diaphragm is drawing upwards. So the more that you breathe wide and full, the more stability as such you're creating. So you're going to take the band. I'm just going to wrap mine around because it's a little bit slippy. And you're going to slowly from there start to bring the arms all the way up. And you're just going to hold them as far back as you can manage. And then you're going to bring them all the way back down again. So keep the shoulder blades nicely stable down your back and all the way back down. So do what you can. Go for a range that doesn't interfere with the rest of the spine. So if you feel that you're pulling back and your head pushes forwards and it all goes sort of horribly wrong, then please just reduce the range of the arms. Now if we can, we're going to take it up. You're going to take it out, you're going to take it back without the ribs pushing forwards, all the way down, 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 pause, palms are facing forwards. Taking it back, take it out, open the front of your chest. So if you've been sitting at a desk all day, this should feel really nice and encouraging to sort of open the front of the chest. And again, keep breathing throughout. I don't really mind how you breathe as long as you breathe. And all the way back. Now I'm going to give you a little side angle as we come back. We bring it up. Watch those ribs, so be careful this isn't happening. So you've got to use your bone positioning to keep yourself in good bony alignment. So your bottom ribs stay in, your hip bone's a little back, you're focusing your tail, staying long and lengthened. And last one, up to come over, 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 and all the way back down. Now a little bit of lateral flexion. So we're going to bring it up. I'm going to leave the top arm absolutely above my shoulder and then come all the way down so that we've got one arm straight up to the ceiling, one reaching straight down. Now from there, I'm going to take a little lean into my opposite hip. So if I'm flexing to the right, I lean into the left. And then I even the weight out a little. So it's back to an evenness left to right. Bring your underside arm up. Feel a deeper stretch here. And use your waist to bring it all the way up without falling forwards. And then we go across to the other side. Push the fingertips long. Reach your other arm up towards the ceiling. A little weight shift. If I'm leaning to my left, I'm weight shifting to my right. Then slowly from there, and evenness left to right on the feet again. Just the underside arm coming up. Pause horizontally with that arm. Keep the other one nice and straight. And use your waist to bring you all the way back up. And from there, we'll take your arms out a little, take them back, and really feel that lovely stretch all the way back, 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 back. For the last time, up and over, keep the flow. You can lift your heart up a little, all the way back down, and bring your arms by your sides. So that's just warming up your shoulders, a little bit of lateral flexion. Pop your band to the side, and we're going to use the roller now. So just bringing it to more the first third of your mat. Carefully bring yourself down. I don't mind how you do that. Just be careful. And you're going to come all the way down onto the floor, and you're going to take the roller and you're going to position it around about the base of your shoulder blades. Now you're going to clasp the hands together, put them behind the middle skull. Just be careful of hair, Jules, so it doesn't get caught. And you're clasping your hands together. Now from there, I've brought the feet a little bit closer towards the bottom, not so close that you tip the hips backwards, and try and keep those big toes pointing forwards. Mike, be careful that your knees don't flop out to the side. If you want to, you can always put one of the green softballs in between your knees if you're finding it's difficult to activate your inner thighs, or you can tie the band around your legs. So from here, I want you just to think about using your upper abdominals to keep your head right on top of the spine. Now from there, we're going to have a little massage for the back. So you're going to draw your hips a little backwards. You're going to start to elevate your hips up, pulling the roller up towards the nape of the neck, and then slowly from there, keeping my hips high, I'm going to massage down towards a position that is comfortable. So that might be different for all of us. Jules, be really careful of any areas of trauma that you've had in the past. Obviously, I don't want you to be rolling over something that feels really tender. So we're just rolling up towards the nape of the neck, down towards about the base of the shoulder blades, there or thereabouts. Now bring those elbows in a little more so they come towards each other. And that's going to expose your upper middle back muscles a little bit more. So the rhomboids, the trapezius muscles, rather than just rolling over your shoulder blades. Be careful that the head doesn't drop back too far, but similarly don't overly tuck it in towards your chest. Keep breathing throughout. Can we tip a little to one side? Quite literally a few grams. Moving across ever so slightly, so we're going up and down the little facet joints. Don't forget about those elbows. Bringing it in and back. And then whatever you've done on that side, I want you to repeat on the other side. Look out for little tender areas. So you might have little areas in between the shoulder blades, in between the spine, where you might just find that there's a little bit more tension. Mike, you'll definitely find that it feels different one side to the other. Remember, your right side is really quite built up almost. It's your dominant side. So just make sure that you are massaging evenly left to right. And then slowly from there, you're going to bring it to about the base, middle of shoulder blades, whatever feels comfortable. Bring your bottom back down again. Eyes come up, maybe use your arms to reposition that roller. Base shoulder blades, there or thereabouts. And again, the feet are a comfortable distance from the bottom. The hands are behind the middle skull again. They don't have to be clamped in towards your face this time. So now we're going to do some extension for your back. So beginning in a neutral spine. So imagine that you were quite literally lying on your reformer. Your head would be on that headrest, your shoulders nice and flat, your sacrum beautifully level. And we're just going to push length into the spine. So lovely long lengthened spine. Remember, we always lengthen before we extend. And then with that length, you're going to wrap around the edge of the roller. Create a little tiny bit of length at the back of the neck and pick your head, your neck, your chest, all the way back up, back up, back up. So just be careful when you come up that you don't flatten your back out. So I want you to imagine you create that length first. It's your low back that would find this easiest. So you're going to really focus on that middle upper back. Again, Mike, be careful of the more built up, developed side of your back. Length at the back of the neck, and use your breathing. As you breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, bringing it all the way back up. We're going to do one more. So beautifully long and lengthened. Keep the length in your spine. Imagine you were doing a swan. Imagine that your hands were on the reformer foot bar and you were bringing yourself in towards the stoppers and you were lifting your heart up and up and up and up. doing a lovely version of a sort of upside down swan, length at the back of the neck, and pick your head, your neck, your chest all the way back up again. And then from there we can do a little version of our roll up. So you're going to squeeze the legs together, you're going to bring the arms forwards, you're going to use your upper abdominals, so we knit the ribs together to come up and up and up. I don't want you to collapse down to the legs. You're just making almost like an old-fashioned magnet shape. Now we can flex the ankles, push the big toes away, shoulder blades nice and lengthened. Then you're going to find that roller. Perhaps clasp the hands together, middle skull, and we come all the way back. A little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. Arms can come forwards. So again, Jules, this will be nice. If you've been sitting at a desk all day, it's really nice to take yourself into that extended position. A little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. Now I'm going to offer you a little progression. Mike, this may not feel doable to you. Again, just considering that more developed side of your back. But if you can, you're going to take your head back. You're going to take your arms back. Just be careful, it's a mega stretch. Bring your arms up first, little bit of length at the back of the neck, and again, bringing it up and over. Do you remember when we do these sort of roll downs on the box? So I want you to imagine that you have your straps, and you're holding the straps, and you find the edge of the box, and you keep holding the straps, but your head goes over the edge of the box. Obviously your arms don't go back behind you if you were on the reformer, but length at the back of the neck. There's that lovely strengthening of the neck, bringing it all the way up and over. And this time we're going to take a nice stretch, reaching forwards. You can hold your toes, maybe it's calves, maybe it's ankles, whatever works best for you. Now I'm pushing my big toes away from me, my little toes towards me, pushing the heels away, pushing the seat bones in opposition. So you're really feeling that lovely, lovely stretching. And breathe. Keep a softness in your shoulder blades, breathing wide and full all the time. And then slowly reset low back, middle back, upper back, and eyes. So now we're going to go into your legs. So again, perhaps Jules, you've been sitting all day on the very old dining chair, and so you might have been sitting. So now I want to open the hip up a little bit, and we'll also work on our hamstrings, which is really, really important, especially if you have a tight back at all. So you don't have to use the roller. Might be careful of your knees. So if you've got any discomfort at all on the knees, then please just ditch the roller. You could also roll up your mat a couple of times, or put a towel underneath your mat if that is more comfortable. So we'll leave the left knee on the roller first of all, taking your right foot forwards. We're just going to come into a lunge position. So here we have the opening, this lovely opening of the front of the hip. Now look at your ankle, knee, hip socket alignment. Be careful of the low back here. So if it's uncomfortable, you can just bring it forwards a little bit with the upper body. And holding and breathing all the time. So whenever you're stretching, the breath is really important. To make this more challenging, you would tuck those back toes under. I'm trying to straighten that back leg as best I can. This might be enough for you, but if you can and you want more, you'd bring your same side arm up, so that's left arm as the left hip is stretching. Then I'm going to come up and over, laterally flexing to the side. Now we do something similar to this when we are facing the foot bar. We've got our back foot onto the footrest, and we're taking a lovely stretch. Now to intensify it, you can hold your left wrist and pull across. Then bringing it all the way back. It's a lovely little balance challenge as well, bringing your arms down, finding your knee onto the roller again. Now hands come down well behind the front foot. Start to straighten out that leg and flex deeply through your ankle. Bringing your little toe towards you. Push the breastbone as long as you can away from you. So we want to try and flatten the back as best as you can. So Mike, be really careful here that you don't get that rounding of the back. seat bone right back behind you. Then the foot comes down, knee over ankle, roll the roller towards you. Both feet are even, and take a little moment here. Just hanging everything really heavy, and slowly restack. Low back, middle back, upper back and eyes. Be careful you don't trip over your roller as you come back. Bring it to approximately a third of the way up your mat, and we'll take our right knee onto the roller. So now we've got left foot forwards. Come into that lunge position first of all. Be careful that your hips are not twisting. Holding, breathing as we were before. And then if you want a little bit of a deeper challenge, adding balance, adding intensity to the flexion of the now right hip, hold and breathe. Then we can bring the right arm all the way up, and then we'll laterally flex to the left. So you should feel that more in your right hip. Take a hold of your right wrist, and you're going to pull a little up and away. Try not to think about this going down. Think about lengthen up and over. Remember, with any of this sort of lengthening with flexion or extension, always think lengthen before we then extend or flex. Bringing it all the way back as a little balance challenge. Feel all the little intrinsic muscles working in your feet. Bringing your knee down and bringing your arms down. So we add the hamstring stretch. Bringing our hands down, straightening the leg. Pick up the toes, push the big toe a little away from you, the little toe towards you. Push that breastbone forwards. Be careful of the neck, so you don't want to push your head forwards as I was doing. Try and keep the neck nice and long and lengthened. Really push that breastbone forwards. Breathe all the time. And then bringing that foot down back so that your knee is over your ankle. Roll the roller towards you and bring that other foot down. And just hang your head beautifully heavy and slowly with evenness, left to right on the feet. Restack, low back, middle back, upper back and eyes. So we'll go from here to still working on the legs. We'll need the band, and we might just use the roller, so keep it close by you. Carefully bring yourself down, and let's just use the roller because it's there. Obviously, again, Mike, can you make sure that you've got the blue band? Jules, you've got the green. And we're going to put the band around the widest part of your right foot. Sit super tall. Really lovely and tall, and you're going to draw your hip bones backwards and lay the spine all the way down. Now Mike, in this position, you might want to put a cushion underneath or quite a thick towel underneath your head. So if you were to even get Jules to look at you, you want to try and have your forehead pretty much level with your chin. So if your head is back like this, it's not going to be good for you at all. So if you were to pop something under your head, just make sure that that head is nicely positioned, okay? And then from there, elbows down, reach that leg up towards the ceiling. So in many ways, you could look at this as a sort of single leg in the strap. So if you're imagining that you're lying on the reformer and you had a single leg in the strap. Now the other leg is long and lengthened, constantly pushing away from me. And we're going to just think about doing some little leg circles here. So we'll come across the midline, push the leg away, circle around and all the way back up. And again, across, around and all the way back up. So let's keep the flow. I'm pushing the big toe away from me, the little toe towards me. Think hip mobility. And at the same time, stability of your pelvis. Around, 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 and pause. We'll go the other way. So really thinking about your opposite hip staying absolutely stable. Around and around. Now note I'm keeping my elbows down all the time. We'll just do one more all the way around and pause. Now from there, you can take a little hamstring stretch if you wish. It might be that you change the grip so that you've got your elbows firmly down, toes down, heel up, maybe little bend, straighten. Try not to flatten your back out. So I want you to try and imagine you have an egg, a grape, a little piece of ice cube, something under that low back. And you're trying to lengthen your seat bones away from you and up through the crown of the head in opposition. And then slowly from there, making sure that you're feeling that all down the back of the leg, we're going to take a little stretch for the hip. So I take now, because I'm stretching the right side, the left hand holds the band as high up as you can. So note how my arm is really straight. The other arm is out to the side. And without pulling the leg too much towards me or away from me, I'm going to slowly draw that leg across. Note how the left arm has stayed straight. And I'm pushing that big toe away from me and pulling the little toe towards me. If you wanted to, you could roll your head in opposition. It's not essential. And then bring it all the way back. You can then take your opposite hand. Other arm comes out to the side. I'm going to start to bend this elbow and we come across to the side. So now I'm feeling an inner thigh stretch. Be careful you don't hike that hip. Holding and breathing. Watch your wrists. If the grip is niggling you at all, Jules, just take a little moment. Pause the video, something along those lines to make yourself more comfortable. Now we switch and try the other side. So putting the other foot in, placing your foot onto the roller. You're going to pause here and pull those arms down and reach your leg up. So think about the position of your pelvis before you begin. Have you hiked that left hip up? Can you push it away from you? Can you keep that neck long? The bottom ribs gently pulled in, the sacrum is nice and level. So this is abdominals, remember. And then you're going to slowly from there come across the midline, reach it away from you all the way back up and pause. So you're thinking a definite circle, not ovals. Make sure it doesn't all just happen up at the top. This is an opening of the hip as well. Around, 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 reaching away. Keep those elbows down, keep your collarbones open. Are you both breathing? So breathe into the back and the base of the lungs. Really fill the sides of the lungs with air. And we go the other way. Think mobility, think movement, think freedom and range in this hip. Think how much range you get when you're on the reformer. Think how you can really stretch those legs away, away, away from you, all the way back around, and we'll pause there. So a little hamstring stretch, if you can. We might bend, we might straighten, we've dropped the toes down towards the face. We're really thinking about that length between heel and seat bone all the time. Collarbones nicely open, absolutely on the center of the back of the skull, bottom ribs in, and breathing all the time. So now right arm, or right hand takes a firm grip as high up as you can. My left arm is out to the side, and we're going to slowly draw this across the body. Really feel yourself pushing that big toe away from you. And breathing all the time. Think oppositional forces. So although the band is pulling me down towards the floor and lengthening, I want you to imagine that you're almost being drawn by your hip, being pulled towards the floor in opposition. Bring it all the way back, hold with the other hand, other arm out to the side, and slowly bring this across. Now I like to bend my elbow and just anchor the elbow with a little bit of an elbow bend on that side. Again, you can roll the head if it feels better for you. It's entirely up to you. And then slowly we bring it all the way back up to the start. And you can take the band into both hands. Maybe just put both feet in for a second. Take a little stretch like so. Now from there, we're going to bend. We're going to keep the feet in the band. I'm going to draw my heels down. Push the legs out nice and long and lengthened. Push that roller away. And I'm holding the band by my sides. So glue the legs together, push the big toes away from you. I want you to now imagine we're on the reformer and these are our straps. Let's say that we're holding the black tape. We're going to lift the head, neck and chest up. You're going to imagine that you're pushing your feet away from you. You're lifting, 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 lifting all the way up, and draw your hip bones lightly back again. Lay the bones sequentially down. Open your collarbones. And again, a little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick the head, neck and chest up. Bring your arms up. Imagine you were holding the black tape, and peel your spine sequentially. Feel the seat bones. Lift your eyes up. So make sure, Mike, that you don't finish back here. Try and get Jules just to spot you, and make sure that your spine is absolutely straight. And again, draw your hip bones lightly backwards, all the way down, down, down. Keep those collarbones beautifully open. And again, with length at the back of the neck, we pick the head, neck and chest up, preferably an inhale at this point, and then it's an exhale to come all the way back up, back up, back up, and pause. So slowly from there, you're going to take that band away, and we're going to jump onto our roller. Okay, so we talked about doing abdominals, so we're going to try and do a little bit of balance work and some abdominals on the roller. Make sure you've got enough space around, so clear any furniture or whatever. You want to be able to take your arms all the way around the top of your roller, and also you want to make sure that there's enough space at the end of the roller for your big long legs, Mike, that they don't hit something. Okay, so just make sure that you're spatially aware before we begin. So I want you to think about coming to the very, very edge of your roller, seat bones almost hanging off the edge. You are, again, very welcome, Mike, to put a ball in between your knees. If you think that your knees, you're sort of not thinking about them, that's always a really nice thing to have, is a little focal point here. You're going to draw your hip bones lightly backwards, and you're going to lay the bones all the way down, down, down until you're lying on the roller. Now it might be that you have to shift yourself up a bit, down a bit. Just please don't have the edge of the roller digging into the center of the skull. It's not very comfortable. The arms are down by your sides. So perhaps lift your sacrum up, place it back down. Lift your middle back up, place it back down. Lift the head up, place it back down. Keep those collarbones beautifully open. So currently we might have palm, elbow and your fingertips, wrists all in contact with the floor. So we can make it more advanced by taking perhaps those elbows off the floor. It's up to you. Maybe you'd like to just keep them there for the first few repetitions. And again, I want you to think about the quality of the positioning of your feet. You can feel the big toe and the little toe, very definitely. Your sacrum is beautifully level, and the bottom ribs are drawn gently down. Collarbones are open. Now you're going to take a wide full inhale, and as you exhale, nothing changes. And imagining that your leg was working in a glass chamber, you're going to pick one leg up. And you'll bring it all the way back down again. Then you're going to pick your other leg up. I'm not gripping with the left toes at all. That's the stabilizing foot, and all the way back down. So imagine the glass chamber, and you're picking the leg up, and you're lowering it back down. And that glass chamber stops your leg from moving left to right, deviating out with the lovely hip socket alignment. So on this next one, we're going to pause. Keep the collarbones open. Big inhale, and as you exhale, pick your other leg up and just holding it there. So I want you to really focus here on that sacrum being level. Be careful that the hip bones haven't pushed forwards and the bottom ribs or the T12 lightly kissing the roller. So you're just holding it here. Now I want you to think you've been glued behind your knee by super glue, so it can't drop down, it can't lift up. And you're going to just slowly take one leg a little way towards the floor and bring it back up. And we take the other leg a little way towards the floor. So we're beginning to look at the abdominals here, towards the floor and bringing it back up. Now, another thing that maybe might, to make you more comfortable, you might want to stick a towel underneath your head. If you're feeling that your head is doing this, you might want to stick a towel underneath your head just to make it a little bit more comfortable for you. So watch that angle behind the knee. It is not changing. No grippy toes. So don't let your toes, Mike, either grip away. Really try and let the feet feel as soft as possible. And if this is good for you, you can increase the range, but you can also let those legs begin to exchange mid-air. And again, be careful of gripping hip flexors up here. So try and really think stomach first and then move those thigh bones. And we'll just do one more each side. And then pause with both legs up, heels can drop to the bottom, and just pause for a moment. Maybe take one foot down, take the other foot down. If you're feeling at all tight here, just let your legs flop out to the side. Just really take a moment to allow the hips, if they're at all tight, just to relax. So now we'll do a little bit of chest lift here. We're going to clasp the hands together, put them behind your middle skull, just as you did when you were doing the extension over the roller at the beginning of the class. And we're not clamping the elbows in at all, they're just in peripheral vision. Little tiny bit of length at the back of the neck. Think about the position of your feet, active inner thighs. And we're going to pick the head, the neck, the chest, all the way up, 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 up. And sequentially lay the bones back down again. And again, a little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick the head, the neck, the chest up. And sequentially lay it all the way back down. So this is really simple flexion of your spine. So to make it a little bit more challenging, we can flex and hold it here for a moment. I want you to think about a large piece of fruit between the chin and the chest. Be careful that you're not waggling your knees, so you might want to take that ball again back between your knees if you're not finding that you can activate those inner thighs just by thinking about it. And then lay the bones all the way back down again. One more length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up, and here is a further challenge. Could you pick one leg up and lower it back down? If you need a break between each of these, please take it length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up and pick your other leg up. One side might be easier than the other. All the way back down and take your head, neck and chest down. Again, lifting, 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 lifting. Keep that tail feeling long and lengthened. If you're feeling that the challenge is easy, you're going to just keep the head, neck and chest up. And you're going to exchange these legs as though you were almost doing a slow march. So things to be thinking about are that your thigh bones are not waggling around, that you're keeping that good alignment of ankle, knee, hip socket, that your bottom ribs are pulling down all the time, that you're thinking about sending your breastbone down towards your hips and all the way back down. Lift, 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 lift. Lay the head, neck and chest all the way back down. So we'll do a little bit of opposition now. So keeping your head down. If your neck feels at all tight, by the way, just roll your head a couple of times from side to side. So with opposition, it's quite literally as it is in the word, it's opposite arm and leg. So from here, take a wide full inhale, check in on your exhale with your level sacrum, bottom rib down. And you're going to pick the opposite arm and leg up and slowly take them back down again. Pick the other arm and leg up and bring them all the way back down. If that is all good for you, you're going to pick opposite arm and leg up, and now you're going to reach overhead with the arm and out with the leg. bringing it all the way back and reach, all the way back and reach, all the way back. Now we'll take the arm down and bring the other arm up and we reach, so it's left arm and left leg, reach and back. What is your right leg doing? Reach and all the way back, taking it down and bringing your other arm back up. Now if you can, you're going to bring your other arm up. If that's too difficult, please just keep one hand still down. But if you can, we reach them away and bring it back up. And reaching them away and bringing it back up. One more, reaching, it's lovely to open the hip and bringing it back all the way down with the hands and bring your foot back down. So whenever you're ready, we now try the other side, lifting up and holding it here. So we reach away and bring it back up and reaching away, bringing it back up, reaching away, bringing it back up. We'll just do one more, open the front of that hip and bring it back up. We'll take that hand down and now same side, arm and leg. Just getting the body to respond to different, not only proprioception, but just different forces acting on the trunk. One more. And all the way back. Now bringing that hand down, bring your first hand back up again. And slowly from there we bring the other hand up. Now remember, don't do this if it's too difficult for you. I don't want you twisting all the way back. You'll find that one side will be more of a challenge than the other. Are you still breathing? Have you gone tight in your neck? Are you still open in your collarbones? And pause. And slowly take your hands down and slowly take your foot down. So one more little thing. Jules, you spoke about abs, so we'll just do one more little abdominal exercise. I want you to create length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. Bring your hands back just so that you can prop yourself up. And we're going to move a little further down until we have about the middle of the shoulder blades. Really, it's sort of in alignment with the end of the roller. So we're going to clasp the hands together, put them behind the middle skull, and just test the water a little bit. I want you to be able to come into an extension up and over the edge of the carriage. It's not the carriage, it's a roller. So from here, you're going to begin with your hands clasped together behind that little skull. Elbows are into peripheral vision. And you're going to slowly from here lift, 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 lift. So we've got abdominals working here. Remember, no clamping to the chest. And remember, Mike, no rounding of that upper middle back. And we're going to come through level, just as you did before. I want you to watch that you don't create a big arc in your low back. You're going to arch up and around the end of the roller now. A little bit of length at the back of the neck and pick your head, your neck, your chest, all the way back up. And again, beautifully level. Remember, before we do any extension, we lengthen. And then we wrap up and around the end of the roller. Pick the head, the neck, the chest up. Remember, if you're finding it's hard with your legs, pop a ball in between your knees. And again, lovely long length, wrap up and around the end of the roller. Length at the back of the neck, pick the head, neck and chest up. Now if you can pick one leg up here. And then bringing it down and pick the other leg up. And bringing it down and pick the first leg up. So think abdominals, abdominal flexion, lifting, lifting, lifting and lowering. Watch that neck. Lifting, 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 and lowering. We'll just do one more. Really feel that abdominal wall, never pushing out, always drawing away from your low clothing. And we'll just do one more. Really think about that lovely length around the edge of the roller and pick your head, neck and chest up. Bring your hands down, taking them as far back as you can. Note my elbows are not on the floor. pushing it up, and then we'll just spin it around and we'll move straight into some seated rotation. So I do appreciate that being on something as low as this mic might be tricky. It might not be very comfortable for you in your hips. Take something like a chair. More than happy for you to sit on the edge of a chair. If you were sitting on the edge of a chair, can you perch rather than leaning all the way back? You just really want your seat bones on and no more. But if you're quite comfortable to be on a roller like this, then please do. Just keep it like so. So again, you're thinking about the position of your spine. Try and keep your back as straight as possible so you can spot each other. Again, if thigh bones are wanting to flop out to the side, stick that green ball in between your knees and get the activity through the inner thighs. So you're sitting really, really tall. You're going to bring your arms up. We've done this one a couple of times, certainly more than a couple of times, on the reformer. So you would be sitting on the reformer box. You would have your arms in front of you. You would have the shins against your foot bar. You might even have the soft ball in between your knees, so it's exactly the same. So you're going to bring one elbow back. You're going to send the fingertips of the opposite hand forwards. You're going to reach your arm back and you're going to bring both thumbs up. Now be careful if you're going to the right that your right thigh bone doesn't get pulled back with the action here. We pull the shoulder blades apart, and then as we rotate with that upper middle back, we're looking back towards the back hand. Bring it all the way back, palms face down. So elbow, fingertips, outstretched arm, thumbs. Now pelvis, remember, from the waist down, you are not going to shift. And you're going to pull those shoulder blades apart and reach, 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 reach with that middle upper back in rotation. And back, palms face down, elbow, fingertips, arm, thumbs. Pull the shoulder blades apart and look towards that back hand. Really sit up as tall as you can, all the way back. Do you feel the same on both of your feet? Big toes, little toes, exactly the same. And again, pull back, reach fingertips, outstretch arm, thumbs. Pull the shoulder blades apart and open, 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 open. This is a middle back rotation. We'll make it flow for the last time. Reach the fingertips, arms. Be careful that this knee is not being pulled back. So almost send your right hip forwards a millimeter to compensate for the rotation clockwise and all the way back. Last one, elbow, fingertips, outstretched, thumbs. Really think about stability in the pelvis as you come back, 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 back. All the way down, arms come back. And then slowly from there, you might just want to, it might be quite nice before we go into extension, you might just want to do a little baby massage again. If you don't like this, don't do it. Just take a little breather. And really feel, if you are doing it, you can actually feel those rotator muscles that you've just worked. So we're going to do a little bit of extension work now. So carefully, bringing it around. We might use the roller, so just put it at that end. We're going to have a little bit of a massage after we've stretched out the quads a little. So from here, come all the way down, and we're going to have hand over hand for a moment. Relax your shoulders, and you're going to bend your left knee, and you're going to try to hold your left toes. And from there, just be careful that you haven't pulled that left thigh bone out to the side, so keep the knee directly under the hip. Taking a wide full inhale, you're now going to push length into your thigh bone away from you. So imagine pushing the thigh bone towards the knee. And then from there, with nice relaxed shoulder blades, you're going to imagine if the knee is feeling good and healthy, pulling your heel a little more towards your bottom. Imagine pulling your thigh bone up into the back of your hamstring. So feel that lovely open sensation through the front of the hip. quietly from there, let it come all the way back down, and we'll do the same on the other side. Now, if this is too tricky for you, you can just lengthen that leg away from you. You'll feel that your glute is still working and you're still opening that hip up. And again, we'll try the same on the other side. So be careful of those knees, Mike. And you're going to hold round about the toes, just beneath the toes. Relax the shoulders. And you're going to push length, first of all, into the thigh bone. So really long and lengthened into that thigh bone. Imagining you're almost pushing your thigh bone down towards your knees. And then slowly from there, if the knee is healthy, you're going to pull your heel a little more into the bottom, and then allow that thigh bone to draw up and in towards the back of your hamstring. So really feeling that quad releasing. And then slowly from there, let it come all the way back down to pause. Now from there, we'll just take the roller, just one more preparation for our swan and our extensions. We're going to massage out the quads. So you're going to place the roller right up by the pubic bone, there and thereabouts. I take my elbows much further forwards. You might clasp the hands together, you might make little thumb fists, and we're just going to massage. We're going to massage up and down. I'll just move myself down the mat a little bit more so you can see better. And so really be careful of your back here. Be careful that the back doesn't collapse. I want you to imagine that there is a sling underneath your abdominal wall all the time, keeping you in a nice position. Now, if you can, tip a little across to one side so that you're on the inside edge of one thigh bone and the outside edge of the other. Then we'll switch to the other side. Are you breathing? Are you screaming at each other? Because this is really painful. And again, bring it up and down. And again, switch. So you might have one side that is tighter than the other, quite possible. And then we'll go back to the other side again. Really feel that up and down the inside and outside respectively. And then slowly from there, you're going to come up. So now we're going to do a little bit of swan. We'll push the roller away from us again because we might just use it. So I want you to remember swan on the reformer. Imagine that you had your hands onto the foot bar. You'd be lying on a long box, red spring on, just to try and jog your memory. But this time for us, we're not hand over hand. We've got the hands on the floor. So make sure that you're on the floor and not onto your mat. Looking straight down. Push those legs beautifully long and lengthened, and you're going to let the back of the head come up. So be careful, Mike in particular, that you don't use the power of your upper body because it's strong and we don't want you to round. So I want you just to almost shorten your middle upper back. Remember what it felt like to wrap around the roller. Now from there, there's almost a lightness into the palm. As you think, lengthen first and lift up a little way. So that'd be the equivalent of you bringing yourself a little way in towards the stoppers. Now you're going to lengthen the spine first, pull the bottom ribs in, send the sacrum towards your feet, and then you're going to shorten the middle upper back, keeping those arms as straight as you can. Lift up through the soft palate and the roof of your mouth. And then bend the elbows first. So the elbows come down first, open the collarbones. You're going to feel your bottom ribs, your breastbone, and then the face. So again, the back of the head comes up. Think halfway up first, length through the spine, really lengthen, 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 send that tail away from you, and shorten your middle upper back. So really open those collarbones. Jules, this should feel really nice if you've been sitting at a desk. Feel how open your hips are. And again, elbows down and bringing it all the way back down. And let's repeat. Lift the back of the head up. Notice how my chin isn't pushing forwards. Keep that lovely length through the whole of your neck throughout. And again, we come halfway up. Sacrum lengthens. Are your collarbones open? Are you breathing? And imagine a sling underneath your rib cage as you bring it all the way back up. Keep pushing those thigh bones away from you. Elbows come all the way back down. And we'll just do one more. If you want to make it slightly more challenging, your hands can come a little bit closer down towards the hips. So now I would say, with that small adjustment, my fingernails are level with about my eyes as opposed to the top of the head. So we take the back of the head up. Try not to rely too much on your arms. This is not a push-up. You're trying to get your back to do this work. So we'll come halfway up, bottom ribs in, sacrum long and lengthened, and we come up, 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 lift up through the soft palate in the roof of the mouth. And then slowly, elbows bend, they come down first, then the head eventually comes down. So we'll stretch that out. Whatever feels good to you, that might be a rest position, like so. It might be that you come into a little cat stretch, like so. It's entirely up to you. Just please make sure that your back feels like it's getting a nice release. What sometimes does feel nice is to come a little way across to one side of your mat, lift the opposite seat bone up and over, opposite heel, maybe a little bit of rotation down towards the mat, holding and breathing there. And then you can bring that across to the other side, up and over. So your seat bone, if I'm going to the left of my mat, I take my right seat bone right up and over the outside edge of my right heel. I'm almost doing a little anti-clockwise rotation of the ribs so I can feel a lovely stretch down through the lats, down through the armpit on the right. So you could do a couple of these. Really get that lovely stretch and let your neck feel heavy. Holding and breathing. And again, coming over, taking that lovely stretch. Really stretching it out. Holding and breathing. And then slowly from there, bring your hands back to center. We'll just move the spine completely, so curl the tail a little underneath you. Feel that lovely cat stretch. And then pushing the head and tail away. Really focus on it being your upper middle back, doing that stretch, not just the low back. And again, curl from the tail, think lengthen your spine. And pushing the head and tail away. And then slowly from there, we can wag the tail in one direction, as though you are looking at it with your eyes. Come into a cat stretch, around, wag the tail to the other side. So this is circumduction of the spine. So you're using your head, your neck, your tail, your middle back, your upper back, remembering that you don't always just go one way with the spine. So reverse, around, and last one, and pause. Then slowly from there, we'll bring it back up to the upright. Hand, and just be careful of your wrists, obviously, Jules. Tuck the toes underneath you, hover your knees, note how the back is in a neutral position here. An upside down V, push your heels firmly down, spike your seat bones up. Really feel that lovely stretch in the legs. And then slowly walk your hands all the way back. Locate your band. Slowly reset low back, middle back, upper back, and eyes. So last little thing, we're going to do a little bit of work on our sides. I want you to take your band. You're going to take the band and sort of divide it in half. You're going to put it over the top of your foot first, and then bring it underneath. So it looks like so, and it should be pretty much even. I'm going to do that again for you. So you make it absolutely even. You take the band over the top of your foot and only wrap it once, okay? Then that's going to be your top leg. I'm going to hold it really tightly, like so there's not an awful lot of band left. And in this position, we're going to anchor that hand. So if we were to equate this to something that we do on the reformer, you would have your headrest fully up, you would have your underside leg like so, all the same, and we would have one blue spring on with our leg outstretched into the strap. So try and remember this. Be really careful that your back doesn't round. So we're going to think about the setup now. Mike, you might prefer to have a towel underneath your head if that's more comfortable for you. It's entirely up to you. So options would be, if you had to have your head like so, or bend the elbow, or outstretched if you can. Now, I'm trying to push my top seat bone away from me. So we're trying to get that little bit of, it might be imaginary space underneath our waist. So push the heel away from you all the time. Watch that top shoulder. I've brought the elbow quite close in by my waist, and I've gone for the knuckles pretty close to the body. Now we're going to slowly let this leg come forwards, and then we take it back as far as I can manage to activate hip extension, and therefore the bottom, it comes forwards, and we take it back. And again, forwards. Note I've got my top seat bone constantly reaching away from me. I am hopefully keeping my leg in alignment with my hip socket, and I'm in a deep flexion of the ankle. We come forwards without letting the top hip roll forwards and back. We come forwards and we take it back, back, back. Keep breathing, forwards and take it back. We'll just do one more, forwards and take it back. Now from there, keep that leg directly underneath your hip socket and come into an internal rotation. We'll bring the leg forwards just a little, but do not let this hip creep forwards. So although I've brought the leg a little forwards, we don't let the whole pelvis come forwards as well. Now the little pulses, up and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. Now back to parallel, pull the leg back a little. Now we're going to bring it all the way up, around and back. Take it all the way up and around and back. All the way up and around and back. And then we're going to pause. We're going to make this a little smaller now and a bit more painful. So from here we're going to go back a little, up a little, forwards a little, down a little, back, up, forwards and down. So I'm imagining a little square, and down and back, up. Keep breathing all the time. Keep pushing that top seat bone away from you all the time. Think about your bony alignment. Last one, we won't make it too uncomfortable. Up and pause. Now from there, allow that knee just to come in. Take a moment. We're going to lie on our backs. Possibly, Mike, a little towel underneath your head, and we're going to do a piriformis stretch. So it doesn't matter if the band is still there. I've taken the leg we've just worked into figure 4. Keep breathing, keep your seat bones pushing away from you. You can elevate that underside leg if you wish. You might feel some groans going on right now, that can be quite tender. I'm going to take if I'm stretching the right, my left hand to the right foot. You might have elbow into that knee crease, possibly palm there. Watch that this shin on the left doesn't drop, and you can roll across away from the direction of that stretch. So just holding, breathing. We'll do that about 3 or 4 times. If you want to come back to this stretch, please do. And again, just hug in, perhaps a little bit of the thigh bone circles. It's like a little recalibration almost. If you wish, just as we would if we were making a spring change or a positional change on the reformer, both hands behind, find a little bit of deep flexion, pull that low stomach in, and as many gentle rocks as you wish to bring it all the way back up. Lift your eyes. And we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So remember, we take the band, make it even, take it over the top of the foot first, and then each end just wraps around. So you really do want your band to end up looking pretty even. You don't want a short bit here and a big long bit. So we're going to come onto our side, and again we're going to anchor. Remember the knee bend on the underside. This arm can be long and lengthened, it can be bent. You could, if you really had to, be up here. I don't want you to have an uncomfortable neck. And make sure you've got enough grip that that band doesn't go ping. So push your top hip away from you, really focusing on that top seat bone, pushing away from you. The leg is going to be in a hip socket height position. And from there, with the big toe pushing away from you, little toe towards you. The leg comes forwards and it pulls right back. It comes forwards and it pulls right back. It comes forwards and it comes right back. And again, forwards to come right back. So really feel that you are opening the front of that hip all the time when you come back. There's a temptation to lift the underside leg, which we're not going to do. Keep pushing that top seat bone away from you. And forwards to bring it back, back, back. And forwards to bring it back, back, back. We'll do a couple more. Just be careful of your form. I want you to think about an ice cube or a little grape or an egg underneath your waist. And on this next one, we're going to pause. It's directly underneath us. You can always check your alignment if you wish. Look at the position of your leg. Is your foot looking as though you're actually standing on it? So you don't want to have big toe twisted or toes all curled under. Really good foot positioning. And then we're going to come into an internal rotation. So that's as though you're rolling your knee down towards the floor. But remember, internal rotation comes from the thigh bone. We'll bring that forwards just a little bit. Don't bring the hip with you. Don't bring the pelvis with you. And 10 little pulses. That's 2 and 3 and 4. Are you breathing? 5, 6. Long tail. Reach up through the crown of the head. 8 and 9 and 10. Now bring it back to parallel. We're going to take it back. We're going to circle it up and around. Think range of movement here. We'll do 4 of these. Pull that thigh bone. It's a big challenge to the underside leg as well. And to the grape, the egg. There's something underneath your waist. One more lift. Relax your shoulders. And pause. Now we're making it a little bit harder or intensifying it by lifting it up a little, forwards a little, down a little, back a little, up a little, forwards a little, down and back. So I'm visualizing a square and really keep length in that leg. Is your leg straight, Mike? Don't let those knees bend. Again, get Jules to spot you. Make sure your leg is straight on the top all the time. We'll do 3 more. Back, up. Keep breathing and down. Back, up. Keep breathing and down. Last one. Up. Keep breathing and down. Pull it back, back, back. Pause and take a little bend and take a nice rest. So we'll come onto our backs. You're going to make sure perhaps you have a little towel under there, Mike, because remember, we don't want you to have your chin much higher than your forehead. Breathe. And then allow yourself, if it's okay, to lift that leg up. And from there, if you're doing the left side, right hand holds your left foot, elbow into knee crease, and just feel that lovely length in your spine. So don't flatten your back out. If you can, we roll away from the direction of the stretch. Bring it back through center, and again across, and back through center, across, feeling that lovely stretch, and back through center. And then you can hug in again, perhaps those nice thigh bone circles. Let your shoulders feel relaxed. Maybe you can even circle a little your shoulders backwards, going both ways. I don't want you to have any tension in your back at all. Pause. Bring it up, lift your head, neck and chest up, and we'll come all the way back up. Make sure that that band is not in the way. And we're going to just, for the last time again, spin it around. Find yourself into a box position, hand underneath each of your shoulders, a knee underneath each of your hip sockets. And we'll come into that upside down V position. So note how my heels are flat. It might not be possible, but you do your best. I have an evenness between the heels and the big toes, and I'm just going to release one heel, pushing the other heel down, lift the toes up, spike the seat bones up towards the ceiling. And then push down into the other heel, lift the toes up. Almost rolling a little into my arch. Now push them both down. Spike the seat bones, widen your elbows a little, let your head hang like a bauble almost. And slowly, you could walk feet to hands or hands to feet, and you're going to hang. And note there is a good almost foot's length of space between the big toe and the hands. Now slowly, with an evenness left to right, you're going to slowly restack low back, middle back, upper back and eyes. Keep feeling that you're absolutely even on both feet. Let your arms come all the way up. Lift your heart all the way back down. One more. Bring it all the way up. Palms push away from you. Really open your heart, open yourself to lots of loveliness. Bring it all the way down and just circle and circle and circle. Oh, that was brilliant. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you both stay really safe. I can't wait to do next week. Please give me any feedback, things that you feel that you enjoyed doing, that you'd maybe like to do more of. Maybe you want to do the same sort of routine, but add a little bit of progression to it. I really, really don't mind. I will write any sort of program that suits you, and if you'd rather I just did one that was what I thought you might need, then I shall just keep it like that. So anyway, take care of yourselves, miss you masses, and see you next week. Bye.